Today I got a little tutorial for you guys. I'm gonna teach you something simple, something light. Here is what I'm showing you guys how to do. In this tutorial we're gonna go over a couple things, but one most important thing is if you want to do this style in the background, you actually gotta buy my synth. I'll give you a clean workaround. It looks pretty good, decent, but it's not as good as my synth. So go ahead, go down there and buy that. I'll teach you how I did this. It's just simple roto out, giving them a little background. But the real thing you're probably here for is that little analog CRT looking effect. How I did that purely digitally. I'll show you that. And on top of that, this little cool looking distorted effect here, I'll show you how I did all that. And then me personally, one of the coolest shots in this entire music video is this right here, where they're all dancing around and they have this little afterglow shadow. I'm going to show you how I did that. Made it look super duper cool. So let's get right to it. Alright, so the best way to do this is to reverse engineer it. So this is the final product right here, and let's go from the end straight to the beginning. So one of the last things that I did is I color graded it. All I did was give it a simple S-curve. So if I take this off, this is what it looks like. Just simple S-curve. Make brights brighter, makes the dark darker. Very, very simple. And you can see the way that I layered the actual footage. I have roto, so this is everything that I have roto scoped out. These videos right here, these scenes right here. And then glitching is just the scenes that need some glitching. So what I did was, the scenes that need some glitching, they're just completely regular. They're regular clips, no type of effects other than some grain on top of it. And then what I did was, I added amino on a different layer in the back, which is an overlay. It just gives it this static-y looking effect, very similar to the head ringing that you get with a CRT TV. Then on the backmost layer, I have a CRT effect that comes from the CRT emulator. I don't know which one of these 12 specifically, but just mess around, see which one that you like. That's what I did. So in the back layer, you need a CRT emulator, or what you could do is just rescan your CRT just so you get that little hollowed out line effect. On top of that, you put amino diffusion. So it has the CRT texture, and on top of that, a lot of head ringing. Then I added the regular clips with just grain. I put that layer on add mode, so that's what it looks like. Then right after that, with the S-curve, boom. That's all I did for the regular scenes. There's a little bit extra at the end, we'll go over that. But let's get into the roto. So all I did was rotoscope them out. So let's look at this layer, the topmost layer. You see the roto brush right there, and then the hue sat bright. All I did was rotoscope them out and change the color. I pretty much just changed the color of this one right there just so it matches with the rest of the color. Granted, red could have fit, but I like the way that the colors are meshing with the purple and the blue. And then in the background, what I did was I have another rotoscope, and what I did with this one, I put a deep glow, so it has a little hologram looking effect, and the hue sat bright. So I just changed the color of it, and I put it on add because that's how deep glow works. You gotta put it as add layer, or it'll just have like a black background look. It'll just have a black background. So if you want something in the back, add. And then in the backmost layer is where I have my synth. All of this in the background, that's my synth. If you want that specifically, I'm not gonna give you the sauce. You gotta buy it. You gotta buy it. But I'll give you a little clean workaround if you ain't trying to spend that money. Alright, so if you don't want to buy the synth, a clean workaround is just throwing tint, two noises, Venetian blind, glow, and hue sat on it. You could tweak with it in each and every way to get it to how you want to look for your specific project, but honestly this little background, it still works out for the type of background that you're probably looking for. You know, it's a clean little workaround. So I'm gonna show you specifically what I did for my synth. These are the colors. It doesn't, these colors don't necessarily mean too much. It's just changing overall the actual color. So you can mess around with these, give it whatever color you want the background to be. Let's say you want it to be fucking, you want that shit to be yellow. Boom, there you go. It's yellow. Background's yellow. And then throw some noise on there. I just got 22.2%. Angel number, I like it. Put use color, clip values, and then the other noise. 22.2 again. Use color, clip values. You're like, why do you have two noises on? It actually does make a difference. Of course, you could turn up the noise too. But 22.2, I like the angel number. Then the blinds, put it to the angle of 90 degrees. Transition complete. This, all it does is, it's like pretty much blurring it. So transition complete, you put it all the way through, it completes the transition. Think of it as blinds. So I have it as 75% because it gives it that scanline effect. Realistically, you can have it at wherever you want to, but 75% makes it look really clean, and the width of 8 makes it look very clean. So I keep it like that. Of course, you could change it looking at how it's different and all that, but 8 is very clean, and that's how I have it for all my synths, so I recommend you have it like that. And then glow. Glow, all this doesn't necessarily even matter. You can use deep glow, you can use a regular glow, you can use these, all these settings that I have for the glow. It just gives it a little bit of a glow. Find a way to make it pop, make it bright. Then hue sat, I just turn the fucking saturation all the way up. It gives it some more lighting. Some more lighting. So let's say you don't want to do that, and you bought my synths. So which synth did I use? So which synth did I use? For that one, I used my static synth. So as you see, whenever you drag and drop the synth, editor. Alright, so here is what synth I used. I used the Eternal static synth. Drag and drop it. As you can see, whenever you first drop it, there may not be anything. That's why I have the curves right there. What you do is you adjust the curves ever so slightly and give it some more synthing. So boom, all you gotta do is do that, and the synth works. I'm not gonna leak the rest of the stuff that I got. You gotta buy the synth. So after you do all that, you roto out, you have the synth on the background with the rotoscope, and then you have the entire layered effect right here. Then what you do is you take everything over to NTSC. So you could use NTSC RS, which is an actual plugin within Adobe, and it's legitimately the same thing as NTSC QT, which is the one that I used. You can see I drag and dropped it, and it already has the same effect of which I have in the video. So what you do if you're using the standalone app is you just render it out and then throw it to NTSC QT. But if you're using NTSC RS, the plugin for Adobe, you can just run it over the adjustment layer and render it out like that. So what I did was I rendered it out, and then I took it over here to NTSC QT, and I'm pretty sure I didn't change it at all. I didn't change much. I like the way it looks like that, and I just rendered it out, and that's how I got this. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Buy my synth if you want to have some really cool glitching stuff. If not, that's a little simple workaround. You can mess around with all of the basics of that, you know, literally what I showed you was the basics of the synth. There's just a little tweaking that I did, a little bit more layers to make it look as cool as it is, but that's the bare bone basics. You can add more effects, add more things. That's the baseline. So buy my synth. That's how I do it. Again, buy my synth. Yeah.